Hello everybody and welcome to the first video on my channel. We're doing a Sims 4 speed build today in Brindleton Bay. This is my sim. Her name is musicpsychfan, which is my username. My pronouns are she, her. She's academic, ambitious, loyal and a cat lover because I am all of those things, and everybody who knows me knows I really love cats. This is her everyday outfit. I really love these oversized hoodies. This is the formal outfit. I don't really do formal very much. I don't really like office wear and things like that. Here's the sleepwear. Here is the athletic, same vest. And here is the party wear. Don't really wear party wear much. Swimwear. I've tried to make these outfits as authentic as possible, as to close to what I wear, and again the oversized hoodies. I absolutely love oversized jumpers and hoodies. So let's get into the speed build. This is on the lot next to the Delgato lot in Brindleton Bay. I decided to make this build specifically base game and cats and dogs only so that anybody can download it. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom starter home. I kept it to under 20,000 simoleons. I believe it's about 17,900 simoleons, but we'll see at the end. Here we can see me doing the outside. I actually find the shell the hardest part to do, and most of my builds are really boxy, so I really tried to make this one a bit more of an interesting shape. As we can see there on the left, that room there is going to be the kitchen, and I put it down on lower level. I really enjoy splitting builds up like that because I do enjoy open plan builds in The Sims, but I do like to separate the rooms by changing the levels, so that's what I did here for this one. And we can just see there I'm just getting all of the walls sorted so that I can get started. The first room I decided to decorate was the kitchen. I again kept this specifically just base game and cats and dogs, so I'm just using the base game kitchen counters. We can see there I am moving the fridge. To do that, if you hold Alt when you are placing things, it won't snap to the grid, so you can just place them freely. I've added a kitchen island there with some stools, and then we can see I'm just checking to make sure that there's enough room for the Sims to move around there. I've added some kitchen cabinets above the top. Now, I don't know if I am really a fan of them because I don't like the colour of the handles, and we can see me trying to find another colour there, but it doesn't quite work. Here I am just adding a stove hood. What we see is really just how long it takes me to decide what wallpaper to use, because this took me a shameful amount of time. I wanted something that would accentuate the pink but not be too overpowering, and the one I chose in the end I quite like. So I'm pleased with the final decision, but it just took me a really shameful amount of time to get there. Just, yeah, far too long. The tiles on the floor, a lot quicker. So there we go. The reason you can see so many different things there in the clutter section is because I had show hidden objects on, which is a cheat you can put in. If you hold Control Shift and C, you get the little cheats bar up. You can put cheats in such as bb.move objects, which is very useful for builds. It allows you to move things so that they don't snap into certain sections, and if you want to put something on top of somewhere where it might not fit generally, bb.move objects allows you to do that. And also bb.show or show hidden objects allows you to see various hidden objects in the game, and then bb.show live edit objects allows you to see the items that are in the debug menu. So the kitchen's done. We're moving on to the little desk nook. I always try to include a little desk nook when I'm building a starter home because computers are probably one of the best items for skill gain in The Sims, so always try to include one, but obviously they're so expensive and it's so difficult to include them in the budget, especially that one. I think that computer is so ugly. So here we can see me trying to organise the desk, and I did try to put the books in front of the lamp, but I actually found ultimately that it looked a bit too crowded on that side, so I kept them on the left hand side. I'm just putting the flooring in for the other rooms. I don't use the carpets very much. Do you use the carpets much? I find the carpets a little bit ugly, to be honest with you. I use the wooden flooring in pretty much all of my builds. I can't really remember the last time I actually used a carpet in one of my builds. So here you can see I'm just centering the door. I quite enjoy... I enjoy symmetry, and I don't like things not being in the centre of things. I really like good symmetry, so that's why I moved the door over. And here we can see I'm just putting the doors onto the other rooms. That's the bedroom and the bathroom there. And I'm just trying to figure out where to put the doors, because I like to have a bit of open wall space so that we can put a TV there. And so that's why I moved the doors sort of to the edges. We can see, working on the bedroom now, I like to have each room to sort of have its own colour theme. So the kitchen, obviously we can see there, is pink. The bedroom, if you haven't already guessed, is going to be like a red theme. And I don't really know why I chose red, actually, because I'm not even really a fan of the colour red. It's not one of my favourite colours. And even pink as well, actually, to be honest with you, is not really a colour that I'm super into. I'm more into blue and green, but I like to challenge myself. I like to try and use different colours in my builds, so there we go. And we can see here just trying to move the bed up to the wall. And I'm quite pleased that I found those nightstands, actually, because I do find that the wood swatches in The Sims do not match. I think it's a problem a lot of sim players face. It's incredibly irritating that the wood swatches don't match, but luckily those ones do for that. Here, it just took me an ungodly amount of time to try and find a rug for the bedroom. I wanted it to be red to kind of match everything, but I didn't want it to be too red, because then I think it just becomes a bit overpowering. Also, what is the placement everybody uses for their rugs? Because when I build a bedroom, I always have the rug under the bed. But I've seen other simmers, they don't do it. And I've also seen some discussion online about if you put a rug down, if you already have a carpet. That some people had been saying that it was odd to have a carpet and a rug. I don't know what they do in the US, but in the UK, certainly we can have a carpet and a rug in the same room. Yeah, so it's interesting. I do find it interesting how different countries sort of decorate their houses. So I've moved on to the bathroom now, and as we can see, I made it smaller for the simple reason that I was at this point running out of funds. Obviously, I wanted to keep it under the 20,000 simoleons limit, and I was beginning to run out of funds. So we'll see again, actually, in a second, that I will resize the living room as well to make that smaller to try and save a bit more money. And the bathroom was the first culprit. So I've decorate the bathroom. I do think it looks a tiny little bit cramped, but obviously the lot I've chosen is a very big lot. You do have space to expand. This lot is actually the one I use the most when I'm doing a legacy challenge, because it's such a... There we go. moving the thing, and then I had to move the desk back out to alt place my lamp again, because moving it meant that I had to... When you alt place something, it doesn't snap to the counter, so if you move the counter, you have to replace the thing that you've alt placed previously. How does everybody feel about that TV stand? Because I've seen some people hating on it. I actually quite like it. I use it more than most other TV stands if I'm building a specifically base game build. I'm not sure. I think the swatches for it are quite good, but it doesn't look like a realistic TV stand. I'll give it that. And here I remembered that I was actually building a place for a cat as well, so I started to remember I'd forgotten to put in any any cat things. So here we can see I've tried to place the litter tray in the bathroom. I'd already struggled earlier on with the placement of things in that bathroom, so I really had to kind of rejig everything to try and fit the litter tray in, but I think it looks okay. And it's quite realistic. My litter tray for my cats is, usually under the sink, because then it's kind of hidden away. And there, I'm just looking for the cat food because I'd previously forgotten to add anything in. We can see multiple times I've had to remember to select base game and cats and dogs only to make sure that everything I put in was usable for anyone who only had the cats and dogs thing. It took me a little bit of time to figure out where I wanted to place this bed. I originally thought in front of the mirror, but then actually I kind of liked it in the corner there, so that's why I put it there. And now we can see I'm just trying to figure out which door to use on the front of the house. Pull it up onto a foundation. Ever since watching Lil Simsy, I've started putting all of my builds up onto a foundation, and it actually feels weird not having them up on a foundation now. So every single build has at least that one, because you don't need stairs for that. Your Sims can automatically step up onto that level, and therefore it saves money because you don't have to buy the stairs, because stairs are obscenely expensive in The Sims, and it still looks good on that foundation. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want to place the windows now. I really struggle with window placement because I like them to be fairly high, like sort of eye level for The Sims, but then it looks odd, so I've sort of put them in the centre, but then they just feel a bit too low. Does anybody else feel that way? With low windows? It might just be a me problem. And here we go, putting the panelling on the outside. I find the panels that have that trim on the edge, it really picks and chooses where it wants to put that panel, doesn't it? Like, for example, it would look really good, the front section of that house with the door, if it had the trim on either side, but it chose not to, and yet it chooses to put it on the inside corners. I'm not really sure why it does that, and that's why it is handy that they've got the trimless version of that panelling so that you can apply it to where you don't want that trim showing. I do have to confess that this roof took me just such a horrible amount of time. I had to cut out a good few minutes of footage because the roof took me so long to figure out what I was doing with it. All of these sections, absolutely fine. It's this little section in the front here. Roofing easily is the thing I find the most difficult in The Sims, and I really wish that they would bring back the auto roofing that they used to have. But, I see people like, I should reference her again, Kayla, Lil Simsy. If you don't watch her, you should. She is absolutely fantastic. She's so good at building. And her roofs always look immaculate. And yet, even when I was reviewing this footage and editing it, I noticed that the roof is still uneven and bad, even after so long of trying to make it look good. I'm ashamed with myself. So I'm going to have to get my roofing a bit better if I want to continue doing these builds. But yeah, it was just so difficult. I think that's also why I build a lot of very boxy builds, because they are so much easier to roof, but then they don't look interesting, which is, the difficulty with it. This build itself is not one of my best builds, I will admit. But when you're building with a budget of such a small budget as well for a starter home, it's really difficult to get in everything you want to get in and then get like some decent landscaping in as well. The landscaping is the thing that I didn't do any landscaping on this, and if I was to upgrade this to be sort of a family home, the landscaping would be the first thing I focus on. This is the only bit I did was some terrain paint for the path, and as we can see, if you look at that roof is uneven. It looks better than it did, but it's still uneven, and I am ashamed of the roof. So if any of you have any roofing tips, let me know, because I will gladly accept them. So here's a tour of the finished build. The kitchen, I think, might be my favourite room. It does look so nice and clean, and I really love just the little amount of clutter that I've put in there. Here's me trying to figure out how to do the camera angles. I'm still new to to doing little tours of my build. So hopefully this will get better with time. And yeah, I mean, the angle for the bedroom is so bad, but look at that matching wood and that rug. I very rarely use that rug, but actually it fits really well in that room, and I really love the little sunset feature wall. We move on to the bathroom with the litter tray there, and oh, where's the TV gone? Oh, that's a bit odd. I will make sure I replace the TV before I put the build on the gallery. Here's the desk and the lamp that I had to move a million times, and that ugly computer. That computer is definitely the worst looking one in The Sims. And here we go. Here's the outside. The roof, yep. It's just... I'm just going to apologise again for that roof. Here's the build. It's in the gallery. I've uploaded it. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath. 17,980 simoleons we can see there. So if you want to download it, feel free. My EA gallery ID is musicpsychfan, which is my username on everything, so you can find me on Twitter and Twitch there as well. Let's just share that to the gallery for all of you. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!